Good morning. Sue Smith sitting in for Elias today. I'll be here with you for the next 2 weeks. And I'm watching Mark Carney, and you've just been listening to our Prime Minister make a big announcement in Toronto with regards to defense spending. He said a lot. He gave a little bit of a history lesson, some of it in French, about how Canada has changed since World War II, since Vimy Ridge, to being less reliant on the UK and much more reliant on the United States. And he called it the new imperialism. And he had this great line that I don't know if you caught, but he basically said if nations are not on the table, they're going to find themselves on the menu. And then he went ahead to make some announcements about actual money and actual spending. We're going to check in now with Tim Powers. He's the chairman of Summa Strategies and managing director of Abacus Data. He's also filling in for Vassy Kapelos, this afternoon. So also watching this very closely. Tim, good morning. Is he there? Oh, okay. We don't have Tim. I just wanted to tell you, we will work on getting him back. Just a few more things that Carney was saying. First of all, a lot of you have been texting in. By the way, sorry, I've just been, the text line has just started working for me. And so I missed a lot of your texts on the STM. I'll try to get to them before the end of the show. A lot of you making the comment, which I noticed too. So one of the things Prime Minister Carney did was he talked about the status of our military right now. And he did say that we've only got one submarine. One submarine working. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. But as well as, half of our naval fleet and, making the case that we need to defend the Arctic, among other territories. All right. I think we have Tim now. Tim, are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, apparently I need some new state-of-the-art telephone equipment. Maybe it's in the defense budget, so we'll see.
I believe they mentioned you by name, Tim. So just kind of broad strokes, what are your thoughts about the announcement today?
Well, the timing, of course, is not coincidental, right? Canada hosts the G7 next week in Alberta. Military spending, global affairs are going to be a huge issue there. Prime Minister, obviously, before he hosts President Trump, the heads of Britain, France, and the other nations in the G7, wants to signal Canada's intent to get there. Intent is big on this. The other question for me coming out of this is I think the Prime Minister's got the intent right. What does the reality look like? That's a significant amount of spending to be done between now and March 31st, 2026. Likely all going to have to get approved by Parliament at certain levels as well, too. So what can we expect in real terms by this time next year? But I don't think, and I'll conclude with this, I don't think the Prime Minister really has many options because as he rightly outlined, we are in a very volatile world. In Europe, they view us as defense laggards because we haven't been seen to be upping our investment in the defense of Europe, and we've been freeloading on the Americans in NATO, as is the perception of Europe. And as we know, President Trump thinks we've been behind as well. So makes sense. And the last thing is, all right, where's this going to come from and what will it impact domestically?
Right. Okay. So that exactly was the kind of question that came to my mind because it's true that Canada has fallen far behind on our commitments. And I think before this this announcement, and I guess the headline is, yes, we're going to make our 2%, which is already considered quite low, and we haven't been making. And before this, I think we were on track to make 1.4%, 1.43%, something like that. And I guess what I'm not hearing from the Prime Minister is where is that money going to come from?
No, now they do have a technical briefing this afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure a journalist will ask him that question, and he's going obviously to have to give some answer there. But from what I heard in that speech, no clarity in that. Of course, important to remember we do have the NATO summit coming up after the G7 summit where it's expected, and we saw this at the NATO Defense Ministers Summit last week, that, the ask may start moving to 3.5%. Now, the Prime Minister did
I've heard 5%.
Yeah, some say 5%. Yeah. I'm trying to make it not too difficult on us today. Say 3.5%.
Tomorrow
cut it in half.
5, yeah.
But that's billions more dollars. Anyway, all of that happening this month. We're not going to get a federal budget, as you know, until October. One assumes in that budget, or November, in that budget, we'd have a more delineated expense outline of what this is going to be. But maybe we know more this afternoon after this 1 p.m. briefing.
And I just want to ask you the politics of it. I mean, you're a political guy. I know that I thought it was interesting, the language. I mean, I thought it was very, for lack of a better word, statesman-like. And he certainly did not waste a lot of niceties on the United States, that's for sure. But one thing I noticed was he called on opposition leaders to support him. And I wonder what you think he is still not in majority territory. He does still need all those votes. Is this the kind of policy that you think the rest of the House of Commons can accept?
Don't know about the NDP and the Bloc, but again, depending what the details are, I can't imagine the Conservatives would be opposed. I mean, Sue, it's fascinating to me. Mark Carney continues to use language Stephen Harper used in 2006, new government, putting Canada first. That's also borrowing from what Pierre Poilievre said recently. I mean, this is, on the surface, not seeing the details, this should be something that Conservatives are very comfortable with because it's something they have always done reasonably well with the public safety and security. So I guess the Prime Minister is calculating that when the Conservatives see what he's intending to do, he'll get support there and is probably not too fussed about what the New Democrats and the Bloc may be thinking.
Right. All right. Well, we'll pay attention to, as you say, the technical briefing coming up later. And of course, we'll be listening to you from noon to 2. Thanks so much for taking the time.
All right. Good to talk to you, Sue. Thank you.
Tim.
Bye.
That's Tim Powers. He is filling in for the Vassy Kapelos show at noon. He's a chairman of Summa Strategies and managing director of Abacus Data. And this is a new announcement that Mark Carney has made just live. 2% of our GDP this fiscal year will be spent on defense.